Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Neil and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Any further movement with Dean Odell, Neil?
What was that? I didn't hear you.
Any further updates on Dean Odell? I know you were trying to get in touch with him. Have you sent him an email yet? Have you arranged to meet with him?
Not yet.
You haven't sent him an email even?
No. I don't
see.
like the way it sounds. I've worded it, I've written it down a few times. I don't like the way it sounds. I'll run it by you when I get home. I'm on the road right now, and then you tell me how it sounds.
No, fair enough. We'll see how it go on. Let's just let Eli in and we'll do a bit of housekeeping. Hey, Eli.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Right, let's do some housekeeping. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No.
Absolutely not. Sorry, my mic is,
A lot of it about today, Eli. Don't worry about it. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No.
Cam from the chat says X is probably going down. Okay, well, maybe don't share on X. Share on Bebo and MySpace instead. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics? Yeah, I'm going to lean on you guys, Neil and Eli. That's right.
I just got back in the car. What did I
Don't care.
miss?
Just any evidence thereof, scientific, for gravity.
What is gravity? Let's talk about that first. What are we talking about? Are we talking about Einsteinian? Are we talking about Newton's gravity? Which one? Specific gravity?
Specific gravity is just relative density.
Well, I was thinking,
So
like,
why do they call
these
it
questions
specific gravity?
They need to convolute the subject matter, as some would describe it, muddy the waters. So if you've got a gravity that 108 years ago described the force that held you to the spinning water ball, and then people realise that there's physical applications of principles that defy that, they change it. So 108 years ago, we have the emergence of bending space-time, so that you can have it once removed from anything physical. Yeah? Well, when people start to realise that once removed bending space-time is non-physical, but it needs to be holding you to a spinning water ball, you need lots of other different gravities, so that people get confused, muddying the waters, so to speak. Now, in schools, they still teach the 108-year out-of-date rhetoric because they still need a force to hold them to the spinning water ball they're not standing on. But in reality, it isn't current rhetoric. It's currently bent space-time, superseded 808 years ago, I think it was, almost 109 years ago now. It's claimed in terms of Newtonian or Einsteinian to be scientifically backed. It's claimed to be science. That's why I thought that it would develop more of a discussion yesterday when we brought the Jordan Peterson thing in. Instead, I was criticised because apparently my view of claiming to be a scientist when you're a psychologist being fraud, when you're putting out your I don't know, statistical analysis like it's scientifically valid. I was shot down. I don't quite know why. I haven't listened back to yesterday's show yet, but I thought it would develop more of a conversation, but it didn't. Such is life.
Well, the thing is, Nathan, the guy thinks that it's science. I mean, come on, the whole world has been duped into pseudoscience being science.
Yeah, it just saddened me because I think there's a lot of things that Jordan Peterson has to say, views he stands for, that I agree with. So it's sad when you see somebody like that you're like, I'm only watching him because I'm obviously enjoying watching him. Regardless of how it's been presented to me off the cuff by YouTube, I'm still engaged in it once it's in front of me. So there's a reason for that. You think, okay, there's no need for you to steal any valor here. You've earned all the credit you need. But obviously
you don't know you're stealing something, Nathan. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. You said that to Tinfoil Hat Man the other day. You don't know what you don't know until you know it. Then you know it. You got me? So we got to get to these people and, at least reach out to people like Jordan Peterson and show him where he's in error.
Yeah, well, I hope that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to cover another video today. I have no idea if it'll be helpful, but we'll see. We will see. I've asked it already, but any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
That's a negative. None.
All right, any evidence that you can have gas pressure that we're all breathing without a container?
So are you saying if there was a space, would gas fill it?
Yeah, that's what gas does.
So we seem to have a problem here then.
Yeah, we do. The whole world thinks
The
they've got a
world
sky
thinks that
vacuum.
gas is filling a vacuum, and it's not.
Yeah, the whole world thinks there's a vacuum above their head, and natural law would dictate that if there was a vacuum above your head, then the gas you're breathing would fill that space. Gas fills space. Space, outer space, the sky vacuum is fake. Well, any evidence of physical geometric sphere edge, a horizon formerly known as Earth curvature. Almost 50 people watching. Please share the show if you've not done so already.
There needs to be more than 50 people watching. That's number one. Number two, I'll answer your question. It's an impossibility to have a horizon on a spherical globe. That's an impossibility. Earth is flat. That's why you see a horizon.
Okie dokie then. Right, as I say, we do have a video that we're going to cover today. If I can find the thing. Is it? It is. Okie dokie. As always, please let this videographer know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. So I'm going to stick a link to his specific video that we're covering today. As always, we're covering it cold, but doesn't mean that we're not necessarily going to be complimentary. We may be. We'll see. There's a link going by in the chat now. So while I'm yammering and doing this call to action, hopefully a few of you will actually do this. Let me just clear my throat. So please let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And the name of the videographer is Jack Gordon. So again, this has been provided very kindly by Paul. So thank you, Paul, for giving us this video. I don't know what it's going to be about other than sound checking it. I haven't actually watched this yet, which is always the case, typically speaking, when we cover these videos. But yeah, if you can just leave him a nice comment, as I say, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And we do this in, obviously, support of the videographers that we cover. It's nice when they see people seeing that they've watched their video and leaving them a response, helping them in the algorithm, giving them that comment and like that they all beg for, including me. But the idea is that should they respond, they would do the same for us. That would be to say that they'd put a link to this channel. And potentially, if it's this video that they're responding to, a link to this video in theirs to help us in the YouTube algorithm, where YouTube themselves do not. So yes, let this videographer know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. I'm sure Jack Gordon will be extremely elated for your presence in his comment section. So we're going to get into this. Feel free to interrupt if you're on the panel at any point.
This flat earther is about to see the curvature of the Earth with his own eyes. See, most of us think the planet looks like...
Now, there's a problem straight away. When you say see the curvature of the Earth, I can only infer that he's inferring that at altitude you see the edge of the sphere as depicted in this CGI rendering. No, The horizon is not Earth curve. As Neil just pointed out, you can't have a horizon, a rate of change. It's a slope. Well, that curvature that you've described isn't possible to be depicted as something that is useful for establishing horizontal. That's the horizon. So the horizon isn't Earth curve. In case you haven't kept up, we debunked this in 2020. So I'll go through it now for your indulgence, Jack. If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every distance to that horizon you're claiming you're going to show this flat earther could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, as laid down in the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve maths. And the distance to the horizon in the Black Swan is beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere Earth as depicted here. Therefore, the Earth is not a sphere, and the horizon is not Earth curve. So, let's see where this goes.
Like this. But the thing is, 10% of the world thinks the planet looks like this. And this is one.
10% of the world thinks that the planet looks like this. No. A survey that was recently exhibited, let's say, by Mark Sargent, alluded to the idea that 90% of the world don't think it's flat, 10% do. Right? That was the statistic that I read. Now, number one, according to Vic Reeves, 64.2% of all statistics are made up on the spot. But notwithstanding that I don't necessarily lend that much credence to these statistics, who cares? Right? It's sad when all the people who are coming off the ball want to do is gauge the consensus for how strongly the consensus agree or disagree with this notion. It's one of the first things he's presented. It matters not if there is no percentages that you could register as flat earthers. There's just one dude saying it's flat with evidence of how it's measured flat for you to recognise, if you've got reasonable sensibilities, that it's flat, if that's how it's measured. It doesn't matter about how many people in consensus. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be people out there like Neil who are really pleased that there's more people around him that know it's flat. But I don't even think that would be the case. I think if you were to actually go to each of those people, if they've been surveyed at all, and ask them how they know it's flat, I think there'd be a tiny percentage that actually knew it was flat, as opposed to believed it was flat.
We're going to be seeing if he's right. Step 1, launch a balloon into space.
My name is Sebit.
Step 1, assume that we are sending a balloon to a sky vacuum. Anybody got any issue with that straight off the bat? The assumption that the balloon's going to go into space? What, like an area of volume that gas could fill? An area of space? A space? Gas fills space. Look at this guy, he's breathing it. The gas that this guy's breathing would also go into that space. If it was an area of volume for gas to fill, gas would fill it. That's what gas does. Without containment, we'd never achieve gas pressure here on Earth. There must be containment. If there's containment, a barrier, then there's no way of traversing it if you're a rocket. If the rocket can traverse whatever barrier we have keeping the gas here, then so can the gas. In natural law, the second law of thermodynamics, would be violated by this notion that the area above your head is a space for gas to fill, because gas would fill it, in line with entropic law.
And I believe the Earth is flat.
See? He believes it. So you're useless to me, my friend. Because I don't care about your flat earth belief. In fact, I see you as my enemy now, in many ways. Sad as that may sound coming from a flat earther. But somebody who believes the earth is flat isn't helping anybody.
2, 1.
That's why you're doing this. Yeah? I don't need a balloon to go up into the sky to look at the horizon. Because that's all you're doing. Looking at the horizon from high up in the sky. The horizon's not Earth curve, so this is useless to me. In the meantime, all of the maps and models that a globe would be using have been derived from elevation angle measurements to Polaris to give you all of the orbital motions and the flat plane that is depicted on, so that you can then extrapolate out radial values of a sphere. Now, I don't need to go and look at the sky to say that, but that means that I wouldn't be in this position, would I? Sitting on camera telling people about their flat Earth belief. I don't have one. I know it's flat.
Step 2, live stream what the camera sees into his vision using a
Well, you're just going to be showing him the horizon, aren't you? Who cares?
VR headset.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm seeing clouds.
That's the horizon. Yeah? That's not Earth curve. That's the point where the land or sea meets the sky. It's not a geometric limitation to your view at 1.2 times the square root of the observer sine feet. We've debunked it.
That's awesome.
These are the people that hurt us. These people right here. I don't know if I'm roboting, but cats like this doing stupid things like this. This is what hurts flat Earth. The horizon is not Earth curve.
Yeah, that's it. That's the bottom line here. The horizon's not a hill in the way of things. Who cares what you can see of it at altitude?
Wait for the balloon to reach space and see.
Wait for it to reach an area of volume that all the gas we were breathing could be filling. 10 to the minus 17 torr. Sky vacuum. There isn't such a thing. It's absolutely absurd. We would have never developed gas pressure in the first place. The first particle of gas would have left the ground, travelled in whatever vector it left the ground in, and it would continue in that vector until it either bumped into something. Well, that's it. That's the only thing it can do. Until it bumps into something, it would just keep going. So if the Earth in its fledgling form, in your reification of a flat Earth measurement turned into a sphere in a sky vacuum, was to come out of the ground, it would never, ever bounce off something. That would be press on something to form pressure. And every subsequent gas particle that left the ground from there on in would do the exact same. Leave the ground in whatever vector it's travelling and keep going in that vector, because there's nothing to hit. So it's never going to press on anything. So how are you going to have a whole bunch of them for us to breathe at pressure if there's nothing to press on? It's utterly absurd. Space is fake. Outer space is a lie.
What he said.
How did you first come about, like, flat Earth?
I've been high up. I've been on the airplane. You should be able to see the plane dip just to maintain travel across a globe Earth. And yet,
That's correct. Good argument.
I haven't felt no such thing.
He actually makes.
Sorry, but you haven't felt any such thing. Brian would turn over in disgust. Right. Yes, the first half of your argument was correct. Yeah, planes would have to account for the massive void opening up ahead of them at 8 inches per the mile squared, according to globe maths. Okay, so if there's a void opening up ahead of the aeroplane, he's going to have to account for that. That is to say, nose down around the sphere of the Earth to stay at a similar altitude. They don't do that. They fly with their nose above the horizontal to maintain lift. Now, that's the conclusion, not I've never experienced it. Okay, what, as a passenger? How the hell would you know what the angle of attack of the plane is as a passenger? It means nothing. However, detailing, as Brian does, what happens on a plane concludes your debunking of a sphere Earth that has no account for planes going around it. They all fly straight and level. Why? Well, because Earth's flat. That's how planes negotiate the ground, because that's how the ground is. If there was a massive void opening up ahead of them, they'd use that space opening up ahead of them. And if they didn't, they'd fly off into outer space, which is fake, because they're going to get higher and higher and higher and further and further and further away from the ground that's falling away from them, if they're maintaining an altitude with respect to the horizon. So the plane that this guy's just detailed would utilise the horizon as a tool to establish level. It's not Earth curve, then.
Some pretty good points. But before we could address them, the balloons.
Pretty good point if he concluded it better with what planes actually do. They don't fly around a curve.
Hello, Nathan, by the way.
Hello, Arwin.
My-
started blowing away from us. And we have to stay directly under it to stay connected to the live stream, so we got in the car to start following it.
I would suggest that you have the music in the background at basically the same level as what you say, so we can't understand a single word you say. That's really good editing.
At the edge of the Earth is definitely an ice wall.
What? Sorry, my friend, why are you telling them that the edge of the Earth has an ice wall? Why? Have you been? Have you circumnavigated the current known territories to the tune of about 80,000 miles? Have you done that? No.
Antarctica. I'm very skeptical behind the reasons that people aren't allowed to just go and visit Antarctica.
Have you tried? I mean, you've been shown a government document that says that you can't by other flat earthers who use this useless argument that proves nothing and makes them all look silly. You don't know what this potentially 80-odd thousand mile ring that you're claiming is in existence. You've got no idea if that's there or not. None. But you're going to put your neck out and make yourself stupid by claiming it. If you don't know, don't say.
Really make a lot of sense to me.
We just landed in Antarctica and we're going to survive the next 50 hours here.
What about Mr. Beast? The balloon was getting higher and we were still...
There you go. So we overcame this argument by asking about somebody who'd taken a tourist trip to one section of ice. And that was enough to overcome this guy's argument in an instant. Why are you using it as an argument then? So the way to overcome this argument is just to show a fellow YouTuber on a bit of ice. And that's the end of that argument. Why are you using it? Has it proven successful in the past? How many people have you converted by telling them there's a freaking ice wall?
Still driving. But I had some more questions to ask him. What about the idea of, like, falling off the edge of the Earth?
On a flat.
Well, he's the one who asserted he's got an edge, so you may as well defend this, Dumbo. You're the one who claimed it.
Or as you go towards the edge, you wouldn't necessarily just like fall off. You'd be able to kind of just like turn the corner and be able to walk down the edge.
What's he babbling about? What edge? Oh,
He's
the one that
talking
you
about
referred to
a
as an
hard
ice wall.
corner. It's like a cube earther or something.
I've no idea. He's inferring that there's an edge, and that if you walk down towards the edge of it, you'll have, what, a Vsauce explanation for how that would work? Okay.
Fortunately, it doesn't seem like anybody's going to be able to get that opportunity. I don't think that they're letting anybody off or get anywhere close to Antarctica. You got some people blocking out.
I cannot hear a single word of this. Can you hear? Can anybody decipher what's going on? We've got road noise, got music, got echo from wherever the second recording is. What's going on?
Yeah, it is messy, but I think they're discussing right now, or I saw a picture of how gravity is supposed to be like going to the middle of the disk again, that kind of nonsense.
It's your Vsauce crap.
But it's on the video, they're showing that.
Yeah, I saw. Vsauce, they've taken it directly from Vsauce.
So far outside of the realm of physics that I can't even put it in my head.
We'll hear more from the professor later.
What you've heard from him so far is that he can't explain to me. I didn't catch what he couldn't explain. I just heard him say it's so far beyond the realm of physics. No. This guy's not dealing with physics. You're joking. He's not a physicist. He's not doing experiments. You know, it's an absolute joke. But what, you're going to lean on him later? For what? His clue about scientific validity that he won't be offering?
The land around us certainly looked flat, but that made sense. Our camera, though, is at about...
Sorry, the land around you looks flat, but that makes sense. End statement. In what universe where you have reified flat Earth measurements onto a ball that you now think you're standing on, would it make the slightest bit of sense to look flat? That makes no sense. Why would you even state that? I know I'm on a ball, but it looks flat, and that makes sense.
height that airplanes fly at, so it hadn't sensed much curvature yet.
So the camera's getting a little bit more level, but I feel like it's still a little flat. Like I don't see that much of a curve.
Sorry, what curve would you expect to see? Oh, the horizon. It'd be useful if you realised that you're never going to see any curvature with something that is used as a tool at altitude to establish horizontal. That would be the horizon. So given that the definition of horizontal has been derived from this word also, that's horizon, where in unholy hell do you get a curve out of that? You don't. But you're looking for it as a flat earther. So they've got you in a car with VR headset on your head, driving around aimlessly. Who cares? You're looking at the balloon footage. Why are you driving anywhere? So that you can look at the flat ground and just say, that makes sense that it's flat. The horizon's not Earth curve. This is absolute folly.
Do you see a slight curve though?
No, I agree with them. I kind
Like
of
honestly, it doesn't even feel like a slight. And it's like it could be possible that the domed Earth is a little bit higher than 100,000 feet, and so probably don't hit it today. Or for all that I know, the domed roof could be what's popping the balloon.
Crap. Absolutely useless. So it could be a domed Earth. No. Are you breathing right now? Do you understand anything about how gas works? gas at pressure like we all breathe. Do you understand how that works? You know what gas pressure needs? It needs to press on something. So if this area was 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum, and the high velocity gas moving in all directions was exposed to that vacuum, it would fill it instantaneously. So you saying, oh, well, I think it might be a dome. No, without the container, there can be no pressure. It's an antecedent consequent relationship backed up by a law of nature, second law of thermodynamics. Entropy, dispersion, how gas behaves would dictate that we must have something for the gas to press on for it to be pressure. That's what pressure is. What's it pressing on up in the sky vacuum? Oh, it's just pressing on that massive area of volume it could fill when it's traveling at a high velocity. Just presses on that, right? You don't have any argumentation to be sat in front of these people, and they've clearly pulled you out of the masses of flat earthers they could have chosen from as a total nobody so that you can do this for them. Stooge.
That's interesting, actually.
The ice wall thing and so on, well, there are multiple national claims, including Argentina and Chile, slices of the South Pole. There is also a South Pole Treaty, and the U.S. station sits directly...
Sorry.
Oh, God.
Sorry, what does that prove? So, okay, I'll take that as read. There's a treaty about some area of land. Okay. And therefore, what? Therefore, there's a treaty about some area of land. Okay. That doesn't prove anything. Oh, well, there's a station there. Okay. And there's an area where we've got treaties that we say you can't go except for little tiny little tourist areas. And you can't go there. What about Mr. Beast? Yeah, why could my reply not just work exactly the same as his did? There's government areas that we're not supposed to go to, and here they are based on the treaties that we've got. But yet Mr. Beast can go. You know, doesn't that lend complete folly to this argument, which is now the contrapositive of what they put back to the flat earther? Nah, it's not off limits. Mr. Beast went there. But it is off limits. There's treaties and big buildings. Okay, I'll accept both. You can both go there, like Mr. Beast, and there's treaties in place that say you can't go there, and there's big buildings there. Okay, I'll accept all of that, even though it seems stupid. What does that prove, pray tell? How does this help me decipher what the world is exactly? Oh, it doesn't it? Unless the flat earther has offered up a notion of an ice wall ring around us that we are stopped from going to. That lays waste to that nicely and nothing else. It doesn't help them prove it's a sphere, though, does it?
at the geographic South Pole. By the way, I mean...
But the geographic South Pole, that's his only illusion that is offered up in terms of sphericity. So there's poles, what, like an axis going through Earth based on a begging the question fallacy drops in at the end. I see. So because you say this building is in a place you say is antipodal from where I am in England now. But just because you say it, that's the proof. There is a building, it is cold, there is a treaty, and I say it's antipodal from your position now, therefore we're on a sphere. Wow, what fantastic standards of evidence this guy has. What about if I claim that Narnia is real? It's really cold in Narnia, there's a lot of snow there. Yeah? Oh, you can't go, you don't have a magic wardrobe, but there are definitely people who do go through the wardrobe. And there are massive buildings there. Look, it's on screen now. This is a Narnia building in Narnia that you can only access via the wardrobe. Why? Well, because Narnia's real. I'm just going to beg the question of it and affirm the consequent based on the fact that there is a large building with snow around it. Therefore, Narnia's real. That is the exact same standard this gentleman has just used.
If you believe in a flat Earth, don't use your cell phone, because your cell phone...
Right, if I believe, I don't. It's measured flat. Orbital motions used to infer this CGI garbage with a sphere Earth horizon behind it would be taken from flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the stars to develop a grid system flat in nature so that you can back engineer your angle measurements to those stars with the radial value taken from those stars on a flat plane so that Kepler can then give you orbits. So then you can render this garbage out in CGI and tell us that we're all stupid when we believe Earth is flat. Well, one hand says, yeah, you're right. lots of numpty idiots believe Earth is flat. One of them's on this video. Yeah, we're not him. We have no such belief in a flat Earth. We can show you how the only way this CGI rendering came into existence was off the back of Kepler and Huygens and flat Earth measurements. Because this isn't real. This isn't a satellite in a sky vacuum. This isn't 10 to the minus 17 torr area of volume that all of this high pressure gas would fill. It's absurd. It's not real.
Depends on those global positioning systems.
I see. So when you assume global positioning system, that's enough for the world to be a sphere and you to have a big fat chubby Yorkshire pudding face smirk on your face. No, my friend, definitely not. Global positioning system also uses the Cartesian grid system that has been developed from flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the stars. So your GPS, when you break it down in terms of how it actually works, proves Earth's flat. Oh, but it's got global in the title. Yeah, it has. But it doesn't change the grid system that's being utilised, that absolutely unequivocally has been developed from and utilises a flat plane. GPS is nothing more than a globe proof, you think? Because of the title? No, it's not. It's flat Earth proof, my friend. Look at how GPS works.
GPS is global positioning, that is true.
And
That is true, we call it global positioning, and it utilises a flat plane and a grid on a flat plane, latitude and longitude. Yes, so it's going to be using those grid systems that were developed by way of measuring angles off a flat plane, isn't it? Yeah, it is, yeah. So what's that global's going to wash with us? The ones without a belief in flat Earth? I mean, this guy's not contacting me, is he? He's contacting some absolute nobody. Because the guy will stick on a pair of goggles and tell him how he can't quite see the horizon bending yet.
they are orbiting around the globe.
Orbiting, you say? No, my friend. See, your notions of an orbit have come from Kepler, and Kepler derived those orbital motions from flat plane measurements that gave him all of his predictive abilities to that point about where the stars would be. All developed by way of angle measurements off a plane. So no, your orbiting satellites I already covered, didn't I, when you put up your CGI? Not photos, not video, of reified sphere Earth horizons with sky vacuums in violation of natural law with Keplerian claim to be orbital motion. That maths needs a flat plane, my friend. But you think you can smirk about saying, well, we've got a global positioning system and stuff's in orbit around it. Yeah, way to beg the question. But when we dig down into where you got the maths to assert orbits, it's from a flat plane. That's where it all began. Notice how this isn't my flat Earth belief. It's me taking your claim that you think proves a globe and pointing out how the Keplerian angle measurements off a flat plane, off the equatorial plane, that's a plane, that's a flat Earth, with respect to a perspective-derived view of the stars and the angles, that's two straight lines, not one of them curved, off a flat plane to them. Not least of all to mention the grid developed with angle measurements to Polaris. That's how the whole system works, and you need a flat Earth to do it. So no, orbits prove a flat plane, because that's where they begin.
Yeah, it's got to go a tiny bit higher.
I feel like, I don't know, from this height or whatever, I'm wondering what kind of a curve we would see.
If there's a total lunar eclipse, the shadow of the Earth upon the moon...
Shadow? Oh, I've seen a lunar eclipse. It turned red, and it didn't disappear. And it went the wrong direction based on orbital mechanics. So, no. Why would you assume, that's begging the question, that it's a shadow? Oh, right, because in orbital mechanics, derived from flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the stars, it would infer that the Earth's getting between the moon and the sun, or vice versa. No. No. See, that begging the question fallacy falls on its ass based on the assumption that it's a shadow being derived from a Keplerian system that took flat Earth elevation angle measurements to derive. So no, I'm not going to take your inference that some Keplerian flat Earth measurement that's inferring orbital motion causes this, what you beg the question of being a shadow, when it turns red. I don't see many shadows turning red. So how are you going to explain that? So do you want to show me a small scale example of a red shadow? No, you're not going to do that. It doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. Shadows block the light from stuff. That's not what happens when the moon is in total eclipse, when it's bright red.
The moon is a round arc. So, you know...
Oh, what's that? Is that normally what happens when you completely block the light to something, it goes red? I don't know about you, but this doesn't look like a shadow. In fact, it looks so devoid of being a shadow that I'm going to question your sanity when looking at imagery. Shadow, you say? This doesn't look like a shadow. Anybody else seen a red shadow before?
The Earth is round. It's not
That's begging the question fallacy.
a disk.
Sebit doesn't agree, though.
What about the sun and the moon?
Who knows? We haven't
What about them?
been to either. It could be that they're circling Earth.
You didn't need to give you an explanation. They're baiting you, my friend. Yeah? Taunting you into a position where you give up an explanation that they can overcome. Your first answer was perfectly sufficient. You didn't need to go beyond that. I don't know. I've never been there. Good enough answer for me. No, neither have I, mate. I'm with you on that one. But what, now you're going to go on to give you speculation?
On its plane,
How does the sun set, like, below the horizon?
right?
Sorry, what's the sun? Oh, according to this guy now, it's a massive circling, what, two-dimensional disc over a flat plane? Okay. Sounds like they're just building up that straw man I said that you didn't need to be in. You don't know, and you just don't need to have any explanation beyond your not knowing. You don't know, I don't know, we don't know. We can't measure angles to it to give a height because it recedes towards the horizon. That is matter-of-factly what it does. Now, that's quite useful. If you take elevation angle measurements to it off a flat plane, you can navigate with it. So in terms of practical application, I don't know what the sun is. I know that we can take flat Earth elevation angle measurements to it to navigate with it, though. It's been done for quite some time. Still done to this day. Did you know that? Of course, in order to navigate, that would be save your life at sea when lost, with the sun, you'd need a flat Earth elevation angle measurement to it, and you'll need a flat Earth to plot it on, and you'll need a flat map to do it with. Shockingly, that's why they're all flat.
Some people say it could be all about perspective.
Could be, but you don't know. You don't know what the sun is. So to give a suggestion that it's receding towards the horizon because it's a physical entity moving into the distance, you don't know that. Now, it's a perfectly reasonable speculation, if labelled as such, but you genuinely don't know and don't need to offer this up. Now, what I would offer up, I've just done. Point out a practical application for it. So if they deny it, oh, you don't need a flat Earth to measure two straight lines, one along a baseline, established with the horizon. Useful, that, the horizon, for establishing horizontal. To give you a flat baseline, to measure two straight lines, that would be an angle, to the sun. When you do that, you can save your life. Did you know that? Of course, you require Earth to be flat, and it's been done many, many times and saved many, many lives. Feel free to deny the practical application of the sun with respect to its elevation angle measurement off a flat Earth to save your life. What's that? You want to know what I think it is? I don't know. I just know you need a flat Earth to save your life with it if you put it into practical application. What have you got from the sun in practical application on your globe Earth? Oh, absolutely nothing. There is no useful practical application for a 93 million mile away sun over a globe Earth. It doesn't help you in the slightest if you're lost at sea. You'll have to relinquish that religious belief that you've got in order to measure Earth flat and save your own life. Oh, well, maybe you've got a different example that's non-navigational, saving your life type-based example of you with your globe Earth belief about what the sun can offer us. Because you're asking me like I've got some horse in this race. I'm not bloody navigator. I know Earth must be measured flat to use it in that way, though. Like I say, what have you got, globe believer? What do you think the sun's being used for on a globe? Nothing. That's what.
As the sun gets further and further away from where you are, there's a vanishing
You don't know what it is.
point, and at that vanishing point is where we no longer see the sun.
Months and years, the calendar system are a beautiful example of demonstration that the Earth is round. And images.
Sorry, the calendar system. What? No. The calendar's got nothing to do with the shape of Earth. It's just a calendar. Arbitrary. Completely arbitrary. But you're going to suggest that that somehow proves we're on a sphere Earth because of the calendar. No. Having good predictive capabilities of the stars might infer that the people who then arbitrarily ascribe days and numbers to the periods of time that we experience, you could suggest that the assertion of flat Earth elevation angles to the stars to give them a predictive capability in an orbital motion by Kepler, you could suggest that that proves a sphere. I'd just take you back to the original assertion of flat plane measurements to give Kepler his orbital motions, and then point out the calendars proving a flat Earth with that.
Images of Earth, it's not just NASA. Recently, the Chandrayaan mission took beautiful.
I suggest that you stick this guy in a completely bare room so that you literally cannot hear a single word he says because of the reverb. That's what I suggest you. Then I suggest you take that crap reverb recording that is unintelligible and stick it over the top of you with road noise in a car. I think that's just the best possible sound solution you could have come up with.
Full images of the Earth. You could see it as a billiard ball hanging in the blackness.
But can you? So you think you can travel out to a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum to see the Earth looking like a billiard ball? No, au contraire. There's no such thing as a sky vacuum, an area of volume that you could travel to look at Earth as a billiard ball. Because if we could travel to that area, 10 to the minus 17 tour, to look back on Earth as a billiard ball, we would be in an area of volume that the little blue marble you think you'd be looking back on, and all its gas surrounding it, would be vacating into based on laws of nature. Second law of thermodynamics quite specifically.
So Nathan,
I'm still a little bit skeptical.
Yes.
he thinks Earth is just hanging in space like a cue ball. Is that what I'm understanding?
The Yorkshire pudding face man. Yes, that's what he said. I always want people like that to wobble their cheeks for me. And all their chins. Sorry.
But how can he validate that? I was just thinking about it. How can he validate that Earth is just a ball in space?
It's baseless assertion, Neil. He's just stating it. But in his mind, he thinks he's backed by the calendar. Why? Because at the behest of the church, Kepler develops a system of elliptical orbits so that they can figure out when Easter is. And derived from the celestial sphere over a flat plane, the equatorial plane. All derived from angle measurements off a flat plane to the stars. But he thinks that that proves this on a globe. So when he says, because of all the stuff I've just baselessly asserted, that in reality proves a flat plane, I can just assert that if you were to look at it conceptually, it would be like a billiard ball hanging in space, with all the gas just clinging to it, not escaping into the area of volume in line with natural law.
Right, but he comes to that assumption because he sees the moon and the sun, and they're supposedly spherical, so Earth is just up there with them, and that's how he validates it? Oh, I see.
Yeah. Or based on what I just told you, which is that he's assuming that Keplerian orbital motion is going to be giving him a calendar. Therefore, if the orbital motion is the thing that's given you your times and dates, then orbital motion is true. But orbital motion is used with a back engineering of angles taken from a flat plane. So it doesn't. He just doesn't know that. Now he does. Or at least Jack Gordon does, if you've let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. So there's 90 people watching, edging ever closer to 100. As I've said, call to action earlier when we did this introductory part of the video. Please go and let Jack Gordon know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Explain that we have covered this in a better way than his guest in the car with all the road noise. Yeah, hopefully he would do the same and respond to us. And say, nah, I do know what the sun is. And actually you can save your life with angle measurements off a globe Earth. You take the bent line and the straight line and that gives you an angle. Maybe he'll respond. If he did, we'd hope he'd put a link to our video like we are doing for him. Sharing in the algorithmic love, not that he needs it compared to us. But my meager audience is on its way to you to let you know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Just let him know we responded. We have covered your video. We have dissected your garbage. That's a long enough call to action to get a few people over there and then back again. We shall see.
But there are some other cameras up there that got some footage for us, so I'm looking forward to checking those out to see what kind of footage we got.
But the balloon just burst, so we have to go get it. Yeah, that's right. So while we were listening to the scientists, the live stream cut out, and
Sorry, while you were listening to a what? Scientist? No, you weren't ever listening to a scientist. On the contrary. What did he offer you? Calendars? Is that science?
The balloon apparently...
But that's the trick, isn't it? The trick that we get shunned for. When we point out that them saying scientist has now offered credence to a man who begged the question of orbital motion taken from a flat plane as a proof of a globe. Why? 'Cause science! That's the trick. That's the dupe. That's why I've gone to so much effort to tell Jaron and Dave and all the other numpties with an ether belief they claim has also got science. That's why we've been duped. Now, you've got two choices when you find that out. Here's a perfect case in point. He said a man who claims orbital motion is a scientist. No, bloody isn't. He's not establishing cause and effect. He's not got any hypothesis construction. He's not even got a natural phenomena to study. So why is he a scientist? He isn't. But that's enough for the audience to believe that what he said is true. Now, I can take what he said and point out how a flat earth was required. I'm not a scientist, but if I said I was, would that make you believe me more? It doesn't matter. It's not in requirement of belief. It's a measurement of Earth. Flat.
Popped a little bit later, so now it's falling towards the ground. And we have to go get it, so we can see the footage after the stream cut out at the very top.
Clean up with shark vacuum.
Bear with me.
Yep. How do we know we're not just like baiting and switching? Like, how do we know that it's the same weather balloon that we're going to be?
It wouldn't matter if you understood how these arguments worked. Go ahead, whoever that was.
I just said, who cares? What does it prove?
It proves that he may or may not have seen a horizon used to establish horizontal for the flights that they discussed in this plane journey, car journey. So whether or not this flat earther sees a curve in the horizon used to establish horizontal is very important, I guess. But it might be faked.
Going to.
Seba was starting to get a bit suspicious. You're only going to buy this if you actually see the camera come out of the air, so you know it's the same camera, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the problem is, it takes about an hour to get down to the ground.
So what? What's he going to do when he sees the footage that he's just seen in VR anyway? Sorry, do you think that he's suddenly going to see a curve of the Earth in a horizon used to establish horizontal for the flights you've discussed? Seems absurd to me.
Out, and the camera was 20 miles in the air. That's 20 miles per hour falling down, so it is not going to be easy to actually be there.
Yes.
See, the problem with these, I hope I'm not roboting, but it's the same thing that happened with Dean Odell. What did that guy bring up to him? He brought up to him that Netflix nonsense. So the more videos these stupid flat earthers are making, all it does is harm us. We look like a bunch of morons.
I said yesterday we should be divorcing ourselves from that moronic nonsense. You know, when it comes to the rigged game that is flat Earth, we are detaching ourselves from it because we can't stand by anything that the people around us put forth. Like we stand in opposition to almost everything that flat earthers, in quotes, put down on the table. Where have we agreed with him so far beyond one of his examples where Earth goes around a curve, but he didn't state that they don't do that. He just said, oh, I haven't felt that while I'm a passenger. You're like, oh, God, the standards.
When it lands, let alone actually try and catch it out of the air, we're going to try.
Well, there it is. So look out.
Also, this video wasn't cheap, so while we're looking for the balloon, let me tell you about AirUp, the sponsor of this video. An AirUp water bottle works by filling it with water, then taking one of these scent pods, this one's watermelon, and sticking it on the top. Literally.
I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you that this video is brought to you by the people of Patreon. Massive shout out to all of you. You get a daily shout out on the Uncut and After show, but I don't get sponsorship. And the only reason the show even exists is because people support me on Patreon. Now, I wouldn't have the lights on if it wasn't for them. So I'm going to support them where he's taken the opportunity to support a sponsor. I also have sponsorship from the people of Patreon. So thank the Lord Jesus Christ for Patreon and all the people who support me monthly, because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. I should do a call to action, really. Please support me on Patreon.
Not see anything. Then, when you push up and go to drink it, so it makes your water is really just water. We haven't even opened cherry yet. This one's gonna be the best one.
Yeah, that's kind of good.
Link in description. The journey was a lot longer than we expected. It's petrified wood. Apparently, it's from the dinosaurs' age. This used to be wood. We're literally finding.
No, how'd you know that? Would we get a denying the antecedent argument from him if he'd asked? Maybe.
fossils out here, but we have to find the balloon.
Yo, be careful. There's like cactus and anthills down
It looks
here.
like at the horizon. It looks like it just like drops off. No, for real, like.
Why'd you keep babbling on about the horizon? They have the claim that it's a physical geometric sphere edge based on an Earth sphere radius 3959 miles, with that value being derived from flat Earth measurements, and they're saying the distance to it is a set point, a hill in your way. Well, you can debunk that. Black Swan went through it earlier. If Earth's sphere radius 3959 miles, every distance to horizon can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Distance to horizon in the Black Swan is beyond 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Therefore, the Earth is not a sphere. The horizon is not Earth curve. It's not a hill getting in the way. Hills that get in the way of stuff don't move.
Imagine what the wall looks like.
Man, you're having me convinced right now. Let's find this footage though, for real.
I mean, honestly, this is kind
Why? Who cares? It's been rendered pointless by us. The horizon's not Earth curve.
of convincing me the Earth is flat. Like, look around here. I mean, there's nothing.
Crossing another barbed wire.
This is insane. I mean, I think I just gotta go, right? Yeah.
The hike to the balloon was definitely treacherous.
Oh, God, this is tedious.
I think that's a word. Treacherous. Looking back at the maps, you can see how long we walked. It was miles, and this was taking hours. Cows are just staring at us. They don't know.
Imagine, right, that behind this dude's head, you can see that there's a hill, right? We can all see that. It's the demarcation point between sky and land. We could call this a horizon. Okay. Now let's infer, like this hill that's blocking our view of stuff behind it, that Earth had the same dealio, that the horizon, like this horizon, was a hill. And behind this hill, there's a little shop. In fact, just around about here, just beyond his view, they didn't tell you this is shot in the city, there's a McDonald's. It's right here, in this little area. Now imagine that you stood here for 20 years, you had all the provisions you needed, and you could stare at this horizon for 20 years. In what circumstances would you wake up one morning and find that this hill is not blocking the McDonald's that's definitely behind it, but in fact, the McDonald's is now blocking the hill? The hill's behind the McDonald's. Yeah? When, in your estimation, would that ever happen?
Be on a 14/6 day.
14/6 maybe? It's so loomed up, it's so hologrammatic that you can see the hill also hologrammatic behind it. Right? When's that going to happen? Never. Well, that's what the Black Swan shows. Physical geometric limitation claimed to be at 1 mile, blocking your view. And where's the horizon? Well, beyond 10 miles. So the hill that's supposed to get in your way, Earth curve, the horizon, has got up and physically moved itself 10 miles beyond all the stuff it's supposed to be blocking. Yeah? Absurd? Now, just the debunking of an Earth curve edge horizon. We haven't got an Earth curve edge horizon. And what's that useful for? If you say it's blocking boats and buildings because it's an Earth curve edge, how is that useful? How is that put into practical application beyond showing flat earthers how the horizon's a sphere edge in maths, derived from a flat plane? How is it practically applied? Oh, it isn't. There's no actual practical use for this beyond affirming globe earth religion. There's no use for it. What is the horizon used for, though? Oh, establishing horizontal. Yeah, universally renowned for that particular practical application is the horizon. It's kind of got the same ring to it. Horizon, horizontal. Yeah? So that's useful because we can establish a plane of reference to get angles to stars with it. That would be establishing Earth as flat with the horizon. So it's practically useful for saving your life. But what's that you say? It's a hill that gets in the way, even though we can show that the hill's behind the thing it's supposed to be blocking on some days, making it non-physical, not a hill, not Earth curve.
I'm a little late joining, but are they walking to the horizon to get there or something?
Nah, they're walking to find a balloon.
Off of that, I thought seriously dumb that was.
Why did the balloon go down, Nathan?
Why did the balloon go down?
Yeah.
Oh, why you're asking me that? What's that got to do with how Earth is measured flat?
Everything goes down.
Just went up. What are you talking about? The helium balloon just went up.
Where did it end up? Where is its final destination?
Yeah.
Down, isn't it?
No, Neil. Because if the balloon's gone up, isn't the Earth rotating underneath? So wherever it lands, it'll be however fast the Earth was rotating underneath away from it, won't it? It'll be a very long way, depending on the latitude.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, I'm going to actually do just that now and pull up, if I can find it in my own video selection, a video that Adam's referring to. Let's do that now. Sorry for the slight audio delay if you're listening and not watching. How you get on?
Let's get the first one over with, the Coriolis effect.
Oh, this will be epic.
You want to throw a ball to your friend in the middle of North America. If you throw that ball in a straight line, it'll appear to land to the right of your friend because he's moving slower and is not caught up to you.
According to the King of Random channel, with a claim to be scientist, she has made it explicitly clear the Earth will turn underneath balls. Okay. So according to the globe Earth claim based on science, now just put this disclaimer in, she's not a flipping scientist. Yeah. But she says she is. Like your man on this video said he was. So according to a scientist whose detailed Coriolis, Earth turns underneath balls. Okay. Did Earth turn underneath this balloon? Pray tell? Answer, no, it didn't. No. It might have caught a bit of wind, but Earth wasn't rotating underneath it because it would have vanished into a different part of the world given the amount of time it was in the air. There'd be a substantial amount of Earth turning underneath it. That didn't happen.
That we're about
nice way to divert my question. I said, why did it go down? We're not talking about the rotation of the Earth. It came down.
Why are you asking me?
Down.
Why are you asking? You didn't hear my question. Why are you asking me about why stuff goes? I don't care. Why are you asking?
Well, it down, right?
We got
That's
that.
what we're told.
We got that. But why are you asking me? Do I have a claim about this somehow, Neil?
I'll tell you, Neil. It was the balloon burst.
You need to. Okay, so it go sideways. Why did it go the other way?
Now, Neil, you're causing audio chaos because you're roboting. Okay, yeah, you're asking me why the balloon came down, and Adam said because the balloon burst. Okay, well, why are the birds flying? There was a number of birds in the sky that day, Neil. Why were they flying? Why were they at different altitudes? Who cares? Why are you asking? Keep asking you. Alrighty then. Moving on. Okay, if anybody didn't pick up what I was trying to put
on you, sir.
Go ahead, Neil. Bloody hellfire.
I said I don't want a robot anymore, so I'm not.
Thank you for letting us know, Neil. That's really helpful. Meanwhile, Neil's asking me to explain why stuff goes down. Number one, not all stuff goes down. So that's a stupid question in the first instance. Not all stuff goes down, so to ask me why all stuff's going down is stupid. It doesn't. I could ask you why the gas that escaped from the burst balloon didn't fall down with it. Did it expand in all directions in the vector that it was travelling in at the point that it burst out of the balloon? Did it just expand in all directions like gas does? Yeah, it did. It didn't fall down, go boom, boom like the balloon, did it, Neil? So what are you talking about? Aspects of that balloon went down. Parts of it went down. But the gas didn't. That's stuff also, and it didn't go down. Some of it might have gone down, as in it escaped the balloon in a downward vector. It happened to be travelling in that direction when the balloon burst, and it continued until it bounced into another gas particle, or heaven forbid it had a completely unimpeded view of the ground, which it wouldn't have, it would have made its way to the ground and bounced off it and gone up. But that's 1 in 1 bazillion particles of gas inside that balloon, most of which just expanded in whatever direction they were traveling in at the point they escaped the balloon. All vectors, not down. Not just down. We done? Clearly we are.
Curvature.
Oh, that's wild.
But maybe I didn't mind. Hanging out with Seb, it was fun. He's a nice guy.
It's all still intact.
Alrighty. So this is definitely the camera we started with, right? We may not have seen it come down.
What is this? Some sort of magic trick? Is this definitely your hand? You haven't seen me slip any cards into the deck? It's definitely your camera, right? What the hell? Horizon's not Earth curve. It doesn't matter what's on this footage.
But this is it, and there's no way that anyone would have planted it this far out in a field. It took like an hour and a half.
Got nothing up my sleeves. The magic trick isn't the camera. The magic trick has already been done. The magic trick is convincing the world that the horizon is Earth curve. So then all you got to do is go out and get some footage of the horizon, right? As long as we all assume it's Earth curve, it isn't.
Have to get to. We're gonna trust this footage, right?
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to checking out.
Trust what? Trust that it's footage of horizons? Yeah, I'll trust that too. Okay, I trust it too. Yeah, implicit. I haven't even seen it yet. Even if you have bait and switched it with other footage, I don't care. Because nothing you're going to show me in it is going to prove that the Earth's a sphere, or that the horizon is used practically for anything other than establishing a horizontal baseline. To save your life when navigating, for instance, or developing all the maps, or maybe developing the dome of the heavens as a perspective view over a flat plane, known as the equatorial plane, used by people like Kepler to infer orbital motion around a sphere. Or very, very useful, the flat plane and the horizon that you can use to establish it. Of course, that would mean that Earth is flat. And me, as a absolute staunch understander of that fact, would never declare that that's a belief, because it isn't. You, as a globe believer, will also practically apply that flat plane measurement that we all must use.
The footage.
Yeah,
for sure.
we'll see what it looks like.
It's a lot of Earth.
It's a lot of Earth.
It's, horizon. Fascinating.
Let's skip about as high up as it seems like it'll go. Oh, that's landing.
Like, that seems fairly flat, right? Like,
Sorry, why is that a value? It seems kind of flat. What does? What, the ground below not falling away from you? Yeah, okay. Well, that doesn't really help you. I mean, if you can show something that's being practically measured on the ground and have something like, I don't know, some consequence of if it wasn't flat, like dying at sea, like maps using the angle measurements to the stars or sun, how those maps with circles drawn on them, areas of equal elevation. What's that? Area of equal elevation, giant circle with respect to a star you've measured the angle off a flat plane to? Yeah, that's what they use when they navigate. People's lives have been saved by practical application, by utilization of the horizon to establish the world as flat. What's that you say? Looks kind of flat. Standards, my friend, standards.
I think
a ruler? I mean, I see a little bit of curve.
a little bit of a curve. It would be cool to.
Oh, whoa. I wonder if that's got anything to do with how your lens works. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating. Meanwhile, the horizon's not Earth curve, because if it was, every distance to it could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, and it wouldn't physically move on a given day. Hills don't tend to do that.
See, kind of like if we were to like go pixel to pixel, seeing if there is a straight line. Look at that. Look.
It's straight out of 2015. It's absolutely pathetic. This is what we're dealing with in 2023 going on 2024.
Look at that. Look at that. What do you see?
I see a curve personally.
You see?
Well, that's it then. We're done here. The horizon's not Earth curve, though. So if it was curving, how would you establish a horizontal plane of reference with it? Oh, you wouldn't, would you?
Curve.
So how are you going to put this into practical application? Okay, great. Well, I can use the imagery from a bent lens and a bent camera and then claim that the pixels are bending. Okay? And that's going to be useful for what? Other than making money on YouTube by lying to globe believers, how is this useful or practically applied to anything ever?
I'm happy for them to make this unsubstantiated claim that the horizon is Earth curve. And if they want to stand on that hill and die, good luck to them. You can be on the top of that hill and I'm sending a militarized black swan up to greet them.
Yeah.
Make them categorically stand by the statement that this proves that the horizon is Earth curve. And the second they categorically make that statement, you black swan them and they're done.
Yeah. Been doing it for 4 years.
But that's it, isn't it? We don't need to address what's going up, what's going down. No. We just need them to clarify that they are making the claim the horizon is Earth curve.
But they're cowards. They'd rather make the flat earther do it for them, so they can ridicule him.
Being honest, thinking about the sun and the moon's orbit is kind of the toughest things to think about. Vanishing points and points of view and perspective. It does look like it's pretty high above, and that perspective doesn't look like if it were to just go in a straight line, that it could just disappear. Really awesome experience, and super down to go ahead and take that into consideration and everything.
Take what into consideration? The begging the question assumption that the horizon's Earth curve debunked in 2020? I mean, you could take that into consideration. Much more wise would be to establish how the horizon's utilised practically. And what's it practically applied to? Oh yeah, establishing Earth as a horizontal plane of reference. So you can take angles to stars and make areas of equal elevation to save your life at sea if you're lost. It's really useful, that. Of course, Earth has to be flat to do that. Can't be a globe, it wouldn't work.
For sure. Of course.
Pleasure doing business with you. But Sebit wasn't the only flat earther we showed this footage to. We got emails back from tons of flat earthers that watched it and tried to debunk it.
Some may think you.
Oh my god.
Yeah, of course.
Look at the name.
Pleasure doing business with you. But Sebit wasn't the only flat earther we showed this footage to. We got emails back from tons of flat earthers that watched it and tried.
Is it just C, or is the camera all messed up? That's the standard, is it, Death? Wow. So when we say we don't align with these numpties in Flat Earth who utilise the same tricks we've all been duped onto a sphere with, that is to say, utilise some science to claim it, this is the standard offered up from Death. I see. As opposed to a horizon is used practically to establish the Earth as a horizontal plane of reference. It's all about the camera and how messed up it is. Wonderful argument,
Death. One question. Oh, yeah. So you are saying that the horizon is the leading edge of a ball? Thank you.
Debunk it.
Yeah, that's it. Simple. Been doing it for 4 years.
Some may think you see curvature, but I can assure you that.
Death, Jaren also did it with Brenda. Cut her down in an instant with that argument. Yeah?
You don't.
They all had different opinions. As for Sebit, though, we went to Chipotle, and then we drove to the airport.
Right, bro. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
For sure, of course, no problem at all.
All right, see ya. Wow.
And gave him $1,000 for being in the video. And then
that's generous of him. I think that'll be my fee next time someone asks me for something.
And we boarded our planes. And the front of the plane didn't have to point down.
The force of gravity always...
Sorry, the front of the plane didn't have to point downwards. Adam, take it from there.
Yeah. So what's he saying is, because I'm on a ball, planes won't have to dip down. Planes don't dip down, therefore I'm on a ball, even though that is fully contrary to how straight and level flight works, how planes work. And he's recognizing that that's an issue, because he knows if he's got to traverse a surface that's falling away from him, he does have to nose down to mitigate for both altitude and orientation, because whilst he's maintaining a straight line vector ascertained by the gyroscope in the plane to make sure it doesn't fall out of the sky, with an artificial horizon being horizontal, yeah, the ground underneath him is reorientating itself because apparently it's a ball. So he would have to nose down, or his plane would fall out the sky if he was flying a straight line vector as dictated by his artificial horizon in the cockpit. It's a
points
hell,
down,
isn't it, that one?
Well, it just amazes me that you can declare and affirm the consequent with a declaration that goes against what a sphere would necessitate. Because we're not flying around the curve of the Earth and we stay straight and level, that means Earth's a sphere, Earth's surface, and we're traversing it. You're like, are you nuts? That's your standard. That's what you think is proof. Because we're not reorientating the plane with respect to the curve. Now he's going to show a plane doing just that. You watch.
The center of the Earth.
There you go. So that plane's not staying straight and level. It's reorientating with respect to a curved surface, isn't it? It's in his own video.
And therefore, you're not going to need to go up or down or up to follow the curvature. You're not going to feel anything different.
Well, you're not going to feel anything different? So that sounds like mitigation for why you're not doing that. So the scientist says, you wouldn't notice. Yeah, the plane would have to be reorientated if you've flown halfway around a sphere. You're going to have to be 90 degrees to your original position. You're not, though, because the plane never dips its nose with respect to the horizon ever in straight and level flight. Straight and level flight should give the name away. Oh, I mean, what the hell? That's it. Okay. So, as always, let Jack Gordon know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Please leave him a nice polite comment so it doesn't get immediately removed. Let him know that we are assisting him in the algorithmic love that we fail to receive from YouTube when you leave him your comment. And hopefully he'd do the same for us. And leave us a link to our video when he clearly goes through how obviously flawed his arguments are and how clearly requirements for a flat Earth must be taken into consideration when describing orbits from his scientist. What was that? You thought the scientist proved Earth was a sphere, did you? Just had to put a man in a white coat with a Yorkshire pudding face on the screen, and suddenly that's proving the begging the question fallacies he makes? No, Jack. On the contrary. He obviously doesn't realise that the assumptions of orbital motions will be derived from a flat plane measurement in the first instance, or he wouldn't be leaning on it as a globe proof now, would he? But he did, and we're here to point out how that needs a flat Earth. Hope you're grateful. Please leave a link to our video when you do a response. Chance to be a fine thing. What shall I call it? Jack Gordon versus FE? Yes, Nathan, what a great title.
It's a little underwhelming. I'm just trying to think of something. But...
Well, I've done it now. That's what it's being called until someone comes up with a better title in the comment section. Please feel free to give us a title if you think Jack Gordon versus FE isn't a great title. It's what I came up with during a live stream. But with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So a huge, massive thank you to all of you. Smash the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Maybe I'll pick up a few new Patreons. Who knows? Or maybe I'll just go out and buy a bottle of that airy, watery stuff that guy was recommending. We'll see. Who knows? I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!